John had been doing hard day after hard day of intense work at the ranch. It had been a while since he had his last vacation and break. He figured it was a great time to get away to avoid burnout. This time though, he wanted the ultimate luxury experience without having to travel much. Previously, he rated Saint Denis as his favorite place to stay, so he decided he'd head there. This time though, he wasn't going to worry about money. He was going to go all out and stay multiple days as well. To keep with the luxury mood, John started the first leg of the trip on a stagecoach, first stopping in Valentine to go to the train station where he would purchase a ticket straight to Saint Denis. He didn't want to do any of the traveling himself this trip. He had now arrived in Saint Denis on the train and had completed the journey there. He had a fairly nice seat on the train as well. He walked off and was now at his vacation. He watched as the train slowly left the station, and it was now time to start the adventure. First things first, he had to head into town to get to the nicer areas. Finally getting closer to the center of town and to where he wanted to be, he noticed a stray dog on one of the roads. Of course he had to say hi and give him a nice pat. The dog was super dirty, but that didn't stop John. He kept walking to a certain place he had planned, which was the barbershop to freshen up for his city life. He ended up getting a clean shave, and also the barber styled his hair with some pomade. He left happy with his new look and had even more planned in for trying to fit in. He saw a beggar on one of the roads. He remembered not everyone was fortunate like he was now, so he gave him some money. He continued his walk to the next location, which had him going through this nice park. This part of town was super nice. He was now at his next location, the clothes store. John was looking to spend some money on a nice fancy outfit for his vacation in town. He headed to the wardrobe to try on his new outfit, where he really started to look more fancy. He left the store feeling confident in his choices, and now looked like he belonged in the city. Now it was time to head to his hotel, where he had previously stayed last time. His favorite hotel was in the nicest saloon in town. Before checking in though, he had something more important to do. He headed up the nice staircase, and made his way to the bathroom, where he would get a much needed clean. He needed to refresh for the city life, as he was fully embracing this 5-star vacation. Next, he was very hungry, so he ordered some prime rib, which was very yummy, then washed that down with a shot of whiskey. Next, it was finally time to check into the hotel room, so he headed upstairs again, this time to the room though, and once again, he was amazed at how nice it was. He decided to chill out for a little bit, as he had a long day of travel. He went to go check out the balcony his room offered. As he saw the sun start to set a little bit, he loved watching the city below him from here. He was happy to be on his luxury vacation. He talked to a couple other people on the balcony, and noticed a trolley down below. Tomorrow he was gonna ride one. He was excited. It was really dark, so he headed back to his room, and after a long day of travel, he was tired, so he headed to bed. The next morning, John woke up nice and early. He walked to a trolley station where he got on. These things were still so crazy to John. Completely new technology to him. Even though they were slow, this was a fun way to get around the city. This of course was a part of the 5-star experience. Eventually John got off where he wanted to be. He was gonna head to the town market. He wanted to check out what this place had to offer. He noticed a food stall and he took a carrot. After checking out the market, John wanted to head to the general store. He was pretty hungry now, so he'd get some food. He ended up getting some fine brandy, and then he left. He ate his food and then drank the brandy. After fueling up, John had something exciting planned. He was heading to the movie theater. He came here last time and really enjoyed it. He purchased a ticket for himself, then walked in not knowing what the movie was. He decided to opt for a higher balcony view for this movie this time, and he settled into his seat. However, he realized he could barely see anything from here, so he just decided to stand up instead. This was a new movie he had never seen before, thankfully. He was excited to see what it was. Honestly, standing up here by himself wasn't that bad, and overall, he enjoyed his time at the movies. He left the theater and was on to the next thing. He wanted to go check out the super nice neighborhoods in the city that had many mansions and awesome houses. He liked looking at these to see what his potential future could be. These truly were the best of the best that he could find. Some of these were super big and looked so nice. He shortly came up on one of the largest mansions in the entire city. This thing was truly massive. He admired it from afar. As he was talking to a rich local, he noticed a poster on the wall. It was an advertisement for a show at the theater. He decided he'd attend tomorrow. On his way back, he noticed another really nice park. He checked out some of the paths. He also noticed some guys playing dominoes. He went to go see if he could play with them, and thankfully they let him. He wasn't the most familiar with the game, but he was just happy to meet some people. He always felt kind of isolated at home. He was glad to get out into the public. After playing a bit, he decided to leave. He decided to stop and admire for a second just how nice this neighborhood was. With the leaves literally blowing in the air, it was perfect. It was time to head back to the hotel for dinner. He was pretty far and didn't want to walk, so he took the trolley again. It was super nice. The trolleys were free in Saint Denis. After not too long of a ride, it was time for his stop and he got off. He was back at the saloon now, hungry for some dinner. He ordered the lobster bisque this time to switch things up, and it honestly was pretty good. After that, it was time to have a quick beer as he slammed this one down. He had a show to go to tomorrow, so he only had one more. It was getting pretty late now too. He walked upstairs, went to his room, and since it was a little clearer tonight, he decided to go on the balcony again. Then he headed back inside, where he headed to bed. Once again, he woke up pretty early to not waste the day. He decided to change up his outfit for today for the show, and he headed out right away. Before the show though, he headed back to the clothes store because he had a specific hat in mind that he wanted to buy. After trying it on, he knew it was the right one. It was going to be a perfect look for the city. He left with a great outfit. Unfortunately, it was pretty rainy today though. The clothes store was very close to the theater though, because after only a short walk, he was there. He walked in and admired the awesome architecture of this building. This was clearly fitting of the 5-star luxury vacation he wanted. He went ahead and bought his ticket, which he splurged on an upper balcony private viewing. He walked into his seat, got situated, and waited for the show. Right away, a guy came out to introduce the acts. It felt like this guy just kept going on and on though. Thankfully, he finally left the stage, and the first act came out. It was a guy and a bunch of dancing girls. They were pretty good, but it wasn't the best thing ever. John still clapped along though, of course. They started to ramp up the show a little bit. This guy even pulled out a cartwheel, and then he did a crazy handstand, which John thought was impressive. Eventually, their act was done, and they left the stage. It was time for the next act. It was a girl with a snake. John was not expecting this one. He couldn't tell if it was real or fake, or at least dead. To be honest, this one was a lot more boring, so he was kinda glad when it was done. The next act was some sort of strong lady. She bent what looked like a metal rod over her knee. She got it completely in half. Next up, she ripped what looked like a book in half. Then she did a somersault onto this table. Then a second person came out and broke what looked like a brick right on top of her. This last one was his favorite by far. John got up and left the show. He enjoyed the performances more than he thought he would. He then left the theater ready for the next thing. He honestly wasn't quite sure what he'd do next. He remembered there was a self-portrait photographer here in the city, so he decided to head to it. On his way, he noticed a dead pig on the ground. This thing was nasty and rotten. It had been dead for a while, clearly. He then made it to the photographer and got ready to take his picture. He tried a couple different backgrounds, but ended up going with this one. He tried a couple poses as well, but went with this one. He wanted a fancy look, of course. He was happy with this photo to remember his trip, so he left the store. The cemetery was right across the street, so John decided to check it out for fun. For a cemetery, this was about as grand as it got. He saw one he wanted to try and go in. It was unlocked, and he saw a bunch of caskets in there. It was a little bit creepy, to be honest. He left and just looked around the whole cemetery. He found another cool looking one, and he tried going in another one, but it was locked. He called that good and left the cemetery. As he was leaving, he saw yet another dead animal. This time it was a horse. He really wondered what was going on the street. How was everything dead? He decided to walk back through some alleyways this time, which was honestly cool. It brought a whole nother light to the city. It had a whole different vibe back here. As he was walking through the alleys, he noticed a man running from a police officer. He decided to go take a look. He was kind of intrigued, to be honest. The police officer gave the man a hard hit, and it looked like he killed him. All of a sudden, he put him over his shoulder and just walked away with him. John decided to mind his own business though. After that, he decided to leave the alleyways. He headed to the market once again to get a better look this time. This time he went to the trapper to see what he had to offer. He had a bunch of cool outfits, hats, everything like that. Too bad John didn't have any pelts. He was definitely going to come back here at some point though. He looked at the rest of the stalls and then made it out the back entrance. After that, he figured it was time to head back to the hotel, this time taking a nice run back instead of the trolley, which he got there in pretty good time. He wanted to take it easy the rest of the day until night, so he just went to go chill on his bed. Since it was the last night he was going to be here, he decided he would go crazy at the bar tonight. It was time for his first beer, then his second, then his third, then his fourth, then his fifth. It was after his fifth he finally started to notice an effect. He was now a little bit tipsy, but of course he had to keep going. He had his sixth, seventh, and even eighth. By now, he was so gone. His judgment was completely down the drain, so he kept going. He had his 9th, then 10th, and even 11th, where at this point he genuinely couldn't even tell what was going on. Everything was so distorted. He finally stood up from the bar, but then, dark. He woke up the next day very confused, feeling not great. He was on some random street, not in his hotel room. He must have blacked out last night. Having no clue what happened, he just stood there for a while. Hopefully he didn't do anything stupid. This was a good call for John to end the trip here. He realized he went way too far last night. After shaking off last night, John headed back to the hotel to take a quick nap before leaving. He was still feeling very rough, so this was much needed for him to recover. During his sleep, John dreamed about his trip. This truly was a 5-star vacation. Spending 3 nights in Saint Denis, John experienced it all. He started on a stagecoach, then moved to a train, where he finally made it to the station, first getting cleaned up at the barber shop, to then getting a fancy outfit, getting some good food at the hotel, then checking in. John later went to the movies that day, having a great view, then going to a great show the next day with various acts of all kinds, to then just exploring the town. This was overall just a great trip for John. The last night, he went a little crazy, but that didn't mean anything. It was still a great trip. John woke up from his nap, catching up on some sleep, to then having to leave the town. He headed to the train station, hopped on the train, and that was it. His vacation was over.